I took the liberty of adapting a Star Trek fan fiction novella I wrote when I was 10 into a one-act play.
And you think it's better than Tennessee Williams?
Why don't we leave that for future generations to decide?
I'm Ari Carpel with Time. Today I'm on the set of The Big Bang Theory with Jim Parsons. He's won a Golden Globe and an Emmy for playing physicist Sheldon Cooper. Jim, thanks so much for letting us come to the set of your show.
Thank you for coming to my home away from home.
So our first question comes from Julia Hall from Madera, California. How do you manage to make a character who could be easily unlikable, likable?
I think in the writing they're very careful to soften the edges of the harsher words coming out of his mouth. But, you know, the other thing is the way that the other characters are reacting to him.
Well, Mrs. Latham said she was seriously considering donating money so we could get a cryogenic centrifugal pump.
Oh,
Yes!
Wow!
And then she stuck her tongue down my throat.
Why?
Okay, we can't keep explaining everything. Read that book we got you.
They show you how it's affecting them, and it's much more, it's just exasperation and a certain resignation that we're going to put up with it. And I think that translates to the audience like, oh, well, they're saying it's okay. It's tiresome, but it's not hurtful. We don't want to ditch him. But frankly, a lot of the times, structurally speaking for the scene, the point is to irritate, you know. I'm irritated sometimes learning the lines, so I just translate that onto the screen.
And you do it well.
Thank you.
A reader in Berlin asks, do you worry about being typecast as a Sheldon?
No, I don't worry about being typecast. It already happens to a certain degree, and so all I can do is keep working. All I can do is keep auditioning. All I can do is keep, you know, getting into rooms and talking to people. And I love playing this part, and I don't feel that, you know, I don't approach this part any differently than I would have ever approached any other part as far as trying to bring it to life, if you will, if that doesn't sound too arty sounding. I'm very frank, you know, about certain things. Like, I get asked a lot of, well, of course, science things. I'm like, are you kidding? You know, and even the pop culture, like, you know, I'm very forthcoming. I've never seen Star Trek. I don't know Doctor Who.
A reader from Ohio asks, has your portrayal of a physicist changed how you regard science?
I've always been fascinated with science, and very specifically what I mean is I was very fascinated with meteorology at an early age. I lived on the Gulf Coast, and hurricanes blew through there, and I found that very interesting. The one thing that did change and surprised me, although why should it, was what a wonderful basis for a show, as it has been, to be built around, because it's boundless. Anything literally in the world can be tied into this show, and we have a built-in, I guess, excuse for why it's here. So there's a lot of colors on that palette to deal with. As well, there should be. Science is everything, you know. But I'm not watching more Nova.
And Dennis Cross from Dixon, Missouri wants to know, how did you lose your Texas twang?
Well, I didn't lose my Texas twang completely. I know on the show it comes out sometimes, and sometimes I'm given free rein when there's a Texas conversation going on, you know. And I can only imagine that's where they got that from, that Sheldon's from Texas. We've got to do something with this dialect.
Can you turn it on and off at will?
To a degree, it would take more stuff. Like, what can I try and do in Southern right now? In Southern. And like if I'm talking to my mom on the phone and everything, and that's what it is. There's sort of a drawl in it and what have you. And I don't know if this is exactly right or not. Now I'm thinking about it. It reminds me of that commercial on TV where she goes, there's a pothole and she's talking. She goes, oh, did I do that? So I turned something on, but I'm not sure it was a Texas accent.
I think you were getting there. You've done a lot of acting on the stage, as you've
Yeah.
talked about. Is that your first love?
Yes, and I would love nothing more, and I'm actively trying to see a way to get back the right fit, the right situation to do a New York play. That being said, part of it was just happenstance in that I wasn't doing anything in front of a camera. You know, at an early theater was the thing, my only outlet for whatever this desire was on my part. I didn't know camera work. Although when I was very little, I used to say I wanted to be a movie star again and again, and that's not what I meant. You know, I just wanted to act, and I guess I didn't know the word actor.
The final question comes
Yes.
from me.
Uh-huh.
I want to know, Sheldon has a catchword, and I'm curious if the first time it was in a script, whether you knew it was going to be a catchword or it just sort of evolved that way.
Bazinga!
I didn't know we would ever see it again. It was, I don't remember the actual script. It was at least 2 seasons ago now. And they'll bandy about certain things, the writers will, while you're standing there. And Lee Aronson was the one who, they were just trying to find something for me to say at the end of whatever it was, and bazinga was his thing. It was like, that's just ridiculous enough, let's do it. And I love it. I think it's such a unique word. I just find it irresistible, which is probably why it became more of a kind of a catchphrase, you know. I would have never thought I wanted to be associated with a catchphrase, and perhaps I shouldn't. But there's something very forgiving about this one.
Maybe it secures your place in TV history.
I hope so. Bazinga.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you very much.
So nice to see you.
It's good to see you too. Thanks for visiting.
Sure. Thanks for having us.
Bazinga! 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 Bazinga!